What? Hello.
Good,
Hello.
Good afternoon.
hello, everyone.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sunny, Acting City Clerk at the City of Palaca. We're currently short one board member. We are waiting for Commissioner Rawls to appear. We're giving him about 10 minutes. one.
We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is our City of Palaca, December 14, 2020, Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. And at this time, we'll go ahead and have our Pledge of Allegiance and our invocation. We're going to ask Vice Mayor Brown if she could lead us in the pledge and the invocation. Oh, I'm sorry. Pastor Mulberry's on. So Pastor Mulberry, can you lead us in the invocation? And Vice Mayor, can you lead us in the pledge? Pastor Mulberry?
He needs to unmute.
Pastor Mulberry's on. He's muted. Pastor Mulberry, can you hear me? All right, let's go ahead. Vice Mayor, you can go ahead and lead us in the.
All right. Can you hear me now?
We hear you.
Yeah.
All right. You want the pledge or
You
the
can lead us in the invocation. I'll let Vice Mayor Brown lead us in the pledge.
Father, we thank you once again for this day that you've made, and certainly we are grateful that you've allowed us to partake in it. We ask God that you will look on this business session as we come together tonight to do the business of the city. We ask for your divine guidance and for your divine directions. Touch our hearts and give us the agenda of thee. God, that we may know what to do in this season and know how to do it. We pray, God, that the wisdom will be upon these thy people, even tonight, God, as we come together. But we thank you for this opportunity in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up on our agenda is our roll call. We're still waiting for Commissioner Ross to come in. He should be entering at any moment. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with our roll call and wait for him to come in before we finalize roll call. Ms. Kemp? A roll call, Ms. Kemp. I see her logged in online. So we'll count her as present. Commissioner Campbell.
Present.
Commissioner McCaskill.
here.
I'm sorry, this is Danny's. I'm here.
I got you. Thank you. Commissioner Boyle. Present. Vice Mayor Brown.
Present.
Terrell Hill's present. We're waiting for Commissioner Ross to come to the door so that we will have a quorum and we can, so the remaining members can attend virtually. So at this time, we will take a brief break from roll call so that we can make that happen. And it's all Commissioner Campbell's fault.
Carol, to have a quorum, you have to have the quorum in physically here.
You got to have a quorum present in order to have, so that the remaining members can participate virtually. Virtual count, it doesn't count for the quorum.
Mr. Mayor, as you know, under the governor's executive order, when the pandemic was first, I guess, maturing, we were allowed to count a quorum even if people were attending virtually, but the governor rescinded that or allowed it to expire. And as of November 1, the quorum has to be present in person, and then additional members can attend by virtual means. So I know you know that, but just for clarification, I thought I'd put on the record.
Right. That's what I was just explaining to Mr. Russo, who asked the question. So Commissioner Rawls is in transit. He may have gotten caught up in our rush hour traffic in Palaca. So
Y'all laughing, but I
it's actually gotten.
used to come up here in 5 minutes now.
You can't get here in 5 minutes from 3 to 5 anymore. So we'll do the hurry up and wait game. So what we're going to do at this time is we're going to just have a brief recess until Commissioner Rawls arrives. You can
1.
We're back online, and just as I said before, Commissioner Rawls is here for the record, and he did in fact get caught. He got caught in the rush hour traffic. The train got him. And so it took him 47 minutes to get here.
Seems like it.
So we now, just for the record, we now have a quorum, and we can move forward at this time. First up after our roll call is item number 2 of the agenda, which is approval of minutes from the CRA meeting from October 12th, 2020.
Motion to approve. Oh, go ahead. No, you go.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion to approve by Vice Mayor Brown, a second by Commissioner Boyle. Is there any further discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Moving on to public comments. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. No action will be taken on topics of discussion. If there's anyone here for public comment, you have the option of appearing in person, appearing by Zoom, where you can actually appearing by YouTube chat, where you can use the chat function in our YouTube box, or you can dial 386-329-0100 extension 0 in order to have your comments logged. For all callers, please make sure that you include your name and address so we'll have it for the record. If there's anyone here for public comment at this time, we'll open public comment. Do we have anyone in the chat?
None at this time, Mayor.
See no one in the chat and our phones are quiet. We're going to go ahead and close public comment. And we're going to move forward to our reports. I'm going to take one report out of order for a very important reason. So I'll bring Cheryl Lynch up at this time from SBDC so that she can give her report and her remarks as well.
Cheryl Lynch, 900 St. John's Avenue. No real report to bring to the table except would have been 3 client success stories, but I'm still waiting on the picture from John Lyon of Steamboat Willie's. We were able to get him refinanced this year, so that was fun. But we have Kadaria Wiggins, and you also have Andrea Conover. Andrea has won an award, but I know she's on Zoom, so I won't steal her thunder. I'll let her brag about the award that she's gotten already. Just going to show, if you've read these stories, these are long-term investments with the people of the community to get things going. Kadaria was part of the Teen Entrepreneur Summit that we did at Black High School geared towards the Housing Authority students. And working with him through that whole process, he went and got his culinary degree and working, and he's officially started. He's following the cottage food laws and everything else. So it's almost like a proud mama moment for me. At some point, it will be a bakery.
A bakery.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He's going to look to expand into a food truck next, and then go into a brick and mortar potentially down the road. And then we all know what Andrea has achieved. I do want to point out, this is one of the statistics that won't show up in the CBD report because of the address differentiation that the client uses when they first come in to speak to me. So I just wanted to let you know, like, well, in the city, she hired people, and yep, those will be in the county numbers instead. And the last thing I want to say is, Ms. Mary, thank you so much for your support of me for nearly 9 years that I've been here in the community, and to the SBDC as a whole. And we'll still help out if we get this big business incubator going. I make a promise to you on that.
Thank you very much.
If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything.
I just like to say that I actually went to the Zeta City Brewery week before last, and we were really pleased to see the way it turned out. I've known Andrea for quite some time, and watching the struggle to get this thing open up has really been frustrating because has something that can really benefit the community. So I was really glad to see them get open. They have, in case anybody does not know, they have several levels of not membership, but you can go in for and buy what are they called? Is it memberships? Yeah. So it might be worth taking a look corporately, especially. Andrea wasn't really pushing hard, and I asked her. I said, "Are you going to do anything?" Like she said, "Oh yeah, we're doing it." So my wife and I signed up for our business, and pretty cool thing.
Perfect segue into item number 7, which is our recruitment grant recipient, and it's the update for Rosalia Brewery. And we won't, without anyone else taking any more of your speech, Ms. Conover, we're going to go ahead and let you give a few words right now, and then we'll talk about, and then if anyone wants to comment about the recruitment grant and the great job that you've done so far.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we've been working on this for, well, over 3 years when I first started talking with Cheryl, almost after I moved to Palatka, and she's helped me every step of the way. Jeff and Dawn Rawls were helpful also, as I was fortunate enough to purchase the building from Jeff's mother-in-law, and worked on it with our contractor, well, the engineers and the architect beforehand. It took a lot of planning, took a long time. The building part of it actually didn't take that long. We got our building permit in early June, and it took about 5 months for the build out, but that was after over a year in planning and design and engineering. So it's people kept saying, you know, what's going on? Nothing's happening. I'm like, oh yeah, we are working on it every day. But anyway, we are open 5 days a week, Wednesday through Sunday, and we've got longer hours on Friday and Saturday. Our capacity, oh yeah, there's that's the picture of the warehouse. It was like the community storage room.
Right.
So many interesting things in that warehouse building, with the 2 cars and the old piano and things stored from the Rotary Club, and yeah, and the church had their yard sale items stored in there. I guess a lot of the restaurant equipment was when Dawn was going to open the bakery. So all kinds of cool things. But we've got 3 full-time people, Eli, our brewer, and Rod and me, and 4 part-time bartenders. And we're juggling the bartenders to kind of staff at the appropriate level, so they're happy with the tips that they make and the customers don't have to wait too long for service. We've got some seating set up outside so that it's safe for people, but we haven't really finalized the outdoor space yet. We still want to make it nicer. We've got phase 2 plan for the brick building, restaurant downstairs and event space upstairs. It's really cool space upstairs with the stage. So probably after we catch our breath on the brewery and the tap room, we'll start planning for phase 2 access and utilize that beautiful building. But I've invested over $1 million in just the warehouse so far, with the equipment and the build out and purchase of the building. So we're happy that people like it and they're coming. Not the ideal time to open up a space like this. So hopefully next year, with our vaccine and everything, it'll get to be the community gathering place, which is, you know, what I envisioned, you know, when I started this whole project.
So let's give a round of applause.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so I know that this project and the grand opening has really been something that you've worked tirelessly on, along with the help from SBDC and various community partners throughout. And we just appreciate you for your sacrifices. We appreciate you for your vision. It's some 4 years ago, I remember us going over it, having those conversations back in Winter Garden, looking at the opportunity to bring the microbrewery here, not knowing that you had already had the vision placed on you at the same time. And us having the opportunity to meet Trevor Brewer at that time. I think worked closely with you as well with some of this stuff.
Yep.
But we're glad to see it here. You're Palaca's first microbrewery, and you have laid the groundwork for something wonderful to come. And so we just want to congratulate you. And even during COVID times, you're going to be immensely successful, and we're going to claim that in advance and kind of move from there. And so definitely, we just appreciate you and your commitment to this community as a whole, and all the many times you've volunteered your product and your services just to come out and help with other various events we've had throughout the community. So again, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and thank you for the recruitment grant. I'm going to come back for phase 2 and apply for another grant.
Okay. Ms. Tucker, Mr. Griffith, you got anything you want to say about the recruitment grant and about anything throughout the process?
Yes, thank you. It has been an absolute joy to work with Andrea on the recruitment grant that she got for this phase 1. It was funded at $30,000, and I'm looking forward to her coming back and filling out another application to bring it to the board for phase 2. I'm amazed at what she's been able to do with the space and the business. I think it's wonderful.
Definitely. Anybody else on the agency have anything?
I would like to see an article about it go into our quality magazines with the lead showing a business that has opened up and during hard times, and that we have a female doing it. That might help inspire some other young ladies to go in and open their own businesses, because I feel like we're doing regeneration of things coming up after this pandemic, and women are in the minority and they'll be able to get help. And if we can point them in the direction of Palaca, that might be a way for us to have some other businesses start.
And so our fire chief says, Chief Taylor says, Andrew was great to work with in the inspection process, making things easy and working well with the fire marshal's office. Good luck. And then Commissioner McCaskill says, congratulations. Thanks so much for choosing our city to open a business. Looking forward to visiting soon and supporting your vision. And I think you had something you want to say.
Yeah, I certainly want to thank Ms. Canova for investing in our community. Again, I kind of got wind of it about maybe 3 years ago. I think it was at one of the functions over in East Palatka, was invited over there. So kind of kept that under wraps for now, and now it's come to fruition. So again, thank you for investing in our community. And yes, your business will flourish. I mean, I think you're going to do well, and I'll certainly be supporting you. So again, thank you for being patient as well. And in our processes, we try to do the streamlining, and it look like everybody has done a really, really good job in terms of helping you through that and all the different processes. Mm-hmm. And again, and a big kudos to SBDC Cheryl Lynch and the crew, and as well as our Jonathan and Mandy Tucker for helping with the grants piece. So that's all I have.
Okay. Anyone else? I know Mr. Holmes, you were at the grand opening.
I was. It was I'm impressed. It's great to see something like that come to Palatka. It gives us a little bit of a different flavor and flair, and excited for the future development that Ms. Conover is planning. But yep, it's definitely a neat place.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I too want to say thank you for investing in the city of Palatka, more specifically the downtown area. And I echo the sentiments of everyone. I'm looking forward to your business bringing individuals from the outside on in downtown Palatka. So kudos and thank you so much for your investment once again.
Thank you.
And also thank you to Cheryl Lynn for coming here while she's on vacation.
Yeah.
Make sure that
Yeah.
again.
Oh,
Tell us about
wow.
your award.
Oh, God. Oh, I forgot. That's right. Do you want to? Yeah. Yeah, I found out last week that we were selected for the Northeast Florida Regional Council. It's called one of the Regional Awards of Excellence, and this is for cultural and historic preservation and adaptive reuse. So they're not going to do their big celebration in Jacksonville like they did last year, but they are going to notify the city and county commission and, want us to do something here locally. So that's pretty cool.
We should do it in the tap room.
Right. Sure, do it there. We can spread out.
He's already gone to the chat room since all his junk is out of there. So we're going to segue in again. Congratulations. We're going to segue into you now, Mr. Jones at SNME, so that you can give your report and update. And I think this is exactly the type of information that you're looking for.
Thank you very much, Mayor Hill. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the CRA Governing Board for the City of Palatka. My name is John M. Jones, Project Manager with SNME. Joining me this evening is Miss Jaleesa Hill. She's a project planner who's been working on this with me also. And so now we'd like to kind of give you a presentation of the draft of the Palatka CRA plan update. And can you all see the screen right now?
Okay.
Okay, fabulous. All right, and all right, our agenda this evening, we're going to have introduction and background, CRA plan update outline, what's the document going to look like, touch on existing conditions, also touch on public input. Then we'll talk about the 4-point action plan. These are the big redevelopment strategies for downtown Palatka. Talk about the goals, strategies, and projects. And then we'll talk about the budget and the revenue that we anticipate. Introduction and background. In 1983, the Central Business District CRA was established as a redevelopment agency. In 1984, the North and South Historic Districts were established. They weren't part of the CRA at that point, but the historic districts were established. In 1994, the historic TIF districts were added to the redevelopment area. Your initial CRA plan or previous CRA plan was in 2009. Your CRA was extended through 2044 in 2012, and your CRA plan update is being completed this year. Some of the outline, what's the document actually gonna look like? So the document's gonna have several components. First, the introduction. Second, the accomplishments. That'll be a summary of all the different accomplishments of the Palatka CRA, what's been done, what was planned, what's been accomplished. Third part will be the 4-point action plan, the 4 redevelopment strategies that we're going to go over here in just a second. A conceptual master plan that shows where the proposed improvements, the physical and infrastructure improvements are going to go in the CRA. Goals, strategies, and projects. These will address the day-to-day operations of the Palatka CRA to make sure that you're in accordance to Florida statute requirements and reporting requirements. And a budget and review portion of the document that will have a 5-year working budget and also your anticipated TIF revenues. And then an appendix. In the appendix will be the existing condition summaries, the public input, and also the legal description of the document. So that's the CRA plan document outline. Existing conditions. Here we show the existing conditions for the 3 districts that comprise the Palatka Community Redevelopment Area, Northern, Central, and Southern Historic District. The Northern District had about 81 people living in it, experienced almost 4% growth rates in the past 10 years, 37 households, median household income of about $25,000. The demographic breakdown is 63% Black, 33% white, 4% all other races, and 7% Hispanic. Key thing to remember is Hispanic can be of any race, so the numbers won't add up to exactly 100. In the Central Business District, population 430 folks. The growth rate, though, has gone down over the past 10 years, slight dip of about 2.3%. 151 households with a median household income of almost $30,000. Demographic profile is 57% Black, 40% white, 3% all other races, with 6% Hispanic. In the Southern District, it's estimated that the population is about 260 persons. The 10-year growth rate, though, has gone down about 7.8%, almost 8%. Number of households is 102, with the median household income of about $33,000. The demographic breakdown is 58% white, 38% Black, 4% other races, and 7% Hispanic. With regards to housing and the existing conditions, what you see here is a graphic representing the different housing types and ages, I should say different housing ages. Each one of those little housing symbols represents 10 housing units. So you can see in the north, central, and south, a lot of the houses were built pre-1940 and pre-1970. And then post-2000, in the Southern District, we don't have any new housing construction. In the Northern District, we have 5 units, and in the Central District, we have about 10 units. Existing conditions roadways. What we look at here were your 3 primary types of roadways that you have within the CRA. And so you have one roadway with an approximate width of 60 feet right of way. An example of that would be Madison Street. Then you also have streets that are 50 feet right of way. An example of that would be River Street. And then you have an example of your 80-foot right of way street, which would be Reed Street, US Highway 17. So those are the roadways that comprise your primary inventory of roads. For existing land use, we have the existing land uses here shown for each one of the 3 districts. For the Northern and Southern District, it's primarily single-family residential, almost 80%, and a little over 80% for the Northern District. That's low-density residential, that's single-family residential. In the Central Business District, it's about 15% of your total area. And there you can see on the map in the bottom corner, the yellow being the single-family, the blue being the public and institutional uses, like your city uses, your county uses, and your parks, and the red being your commercial uses. So as you can see, the majority of your commercial uses and institutional uses are located within your Central Business District. With regards to future land use, in the Northern Historic District, 68% of the area has been identified for medium density residential. In the Southern Historic District, 56% of the area has been identified for high density residential. And in the Central Business District, 73% of the area has been identified for commercial uses. So you can see how the future land use map has simplified the types of uses that can go in the areas and to kind of build on what's already there, to be compatible with what's already there. We also looked at some additional factors. We looked at your zoning map. We looked at your traffic crash frequency maps, mobility, that's non-automobile mobility. We looked at where the parks are located in public green spaces. And we also looked at your historic districts, and also your contributing structures in the National Historic Inventory, and also locally surveyed structures that you've identified throughout the city. You've got a rich historic inventory of structures. Public input. We had a couple different mechanisms for public input that were utilized in the plan update. We had the website, which included an interactive map where you could drag comments down onto the website or onto the map and leave comments for specific areas. We have an online survey that people can fill out and give us their input. Then we also had an open house, an on-site in-person open house. At the bottom of the page here, you see the smeinc.my-social-pinpoint.com/Palatka-CRA-plan-update. That very lengthy URL address can get you to the CRA project website where you can go and fill out the survey and also fill out the interactive map as well. If you know someone that wasn't able to attend any of the workshops, please feel free to share this information with them, this URL address. We'll continue to take input for the next couple weeks from those web pages. So just wanted to share that with you. And at the end of this presentation, there's going to be a URL or URL address or a QR code that you can scan that will take you directly to the website. The 4-point action plan. So these are the big strategies that we've derived to help guide the City of Palatin's Community Redevelopment Agency in the years going forward. First task, continue the infrastructure improvements. Mr. Griffith and Ms. Tucker have been very diligent with regards to infrastructure improvements in the downtown and the historic districts. Those infrastructure improvements including stormwater and potable water improvements, and also roadway improvements and roadway surface improvements and sidewalk improvements. So continuing those infrastructure improvements is a key strategy for stimulating private sector investment within the CRA. The second is to establish and reinforce connections. That would be connections between neighborhoods, connections between employment areas, connections between destinations. Number 3 would be activate opportunity sites. Mr. Griffith and Ms. Tucker have identified several opportunity sites throughout the downtown area of either underutilized structures or underutilized parcels that could be turned into opportunity sites for private sector investment. And then last, encourage private sector investment. That's the objective of a community redevelopment agency, is to stimulate private sector investment in the area. So for each one of these big ideas, these redevelopment strategies, we've identified several different projects and capital improvement and infrastructure improvements to help realize these objectives. So what we see here is a conceptual master plan map. This is the soup to nuts map of the CRA that shows, 1, the planned and existing and programmed improvements that Mr. Griffith and Ms. Tucker already have programmed into your CIP. And then it also shows proposed improvements to complement those, to kind of tie them all together. So if you look at the legend on the left-hand side of the map, you see existing and planned. And those are all those different colored solid lines, and then the red planned intersection improvement. But then under that, you see the proposed symbol that has all the different symbols for the proposed improvements that would go in the CRA. The purpose of this map is to show how the planned and programmed improvements can coordinate with the proposed improvements so that you can address the entire CRA. So we thought it was very important that you show what's already going in there. Now we're going to look at each one of the redevelopment strategies and see how it applies to this conceptual master plan. So we'll be kind of adding layers to this as we go through. So starting off with continuing infrastructure improvements. Infrastructure improvements include water and sewer, intersection and streets, public safety improvements, and stormwater improvements. And where do those go within the CRA? So here we see the planned and programmed and also the proposed infrastructure improvements for the CRA. You have the Southern Historic Streetscape improvements and intersection improvements. You also have the St. John's Avenue improvements and streetscape improvements as well. Whoops, got a little excited there. All right. The next redevelopment theme was establish and reinforce connections. These are connections from neighborhood to neighborhood, neighborhoods to businesses, neighborhoods to employment centers, and neighborhoods to public amenities. And these connections are not just roadways, but they also include sidewalks. They also include multi-purpose paths. They also include bicycle paths. So it's how do we get people to be able to move around freely within the community? And here we see on our conceptual master plan where those proposed streetscape improvements would go, where the infrastructure improvements would go with regards to roundabouts and where bike trail improvements would go as well. And establishing and reinforcing connections, some example projects for 9th Street. You see the existing 9th Street and the dimensions over here on the left. And then on the right, the proposed improvements for 9th Street that include additional landscaping and also the installation of a large multi-use path on the northern portion of 9th Street. All of this is utilizing the existing right-of-way that's already there. So this is land that the city owns and won't have to acquire any additional land, but it's just improvements to the public realm that the CRA and the city can make to encourage private sector investment. So we're basically showing the development community what can be done here. The next street's example projects for establishing and reinforcing connections is Reed Street. Reed Street's kind of a different creature, 60-foot right-of-way in the center. What we're proposing here is the elimination of the on-street parking to the south and the installation of a 10-foot multi-purpose pathway and additional landscaping in that area as well to kind of soften the edge and give an alternative to riding a bicycle on Reed Street. So there you can see the multi-purpose path here and the elimination of the on-street parking. The next street we looked at was 10th Street. 10th Street is being proposed as a potential restaurant row in the central business district. There's a large quantity of underutilized structures in the area and also some existing smaller restaurants in the area that could benefit from additional restaurants being located next door to them. So this area has a great upside as a potential site for small local restaurants to develop. On the left side, we show the existing conditions. We're proposing no changes in any of the dimensional requirements or uses, but we are proposing a increased use of the public realm, the public sidewalk area, and public right-of-way area by the adjacent restaurants and encouraging them to set up outdoor dining and seating areas. Once again, this would also work along with the COVID requirements with regards to outdoor seating requirements. The next roadway we looked at was 6th Street. 6th Street has a 40-foot wide traffic travel area. And what we're proposing here is utilizing some of the additional right-of-way as a potential food court or gathering area for food trucks. People could come here and enjoy some snackage at some of the local restaurants or local vendors. Once again, increasing pedestrian activity and economic activity on 6th Street, giving people a reason to go down the road and visit.
That's South 6th Street, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry?
Is that South 6th Street?
I'll show you on a map here in just a second where we're looking at.
Closer to the church, something.
Let me get back there. Yeah, I will have to take that question down. I'm not sure which section of 6th Street this is in.
John, if I remember correctly, that's on the south side of Reed Street, correct?
Yes, you're right.
South of St. John's, yes. So that would be South 6th Street.
Is that where the old gas station is?
No, that's near First Baptist Church. If you're
Okay.
by, that's going to be closer to Ronnie Clark's office.
Okay.
That area.
The next major strategy that we're going to look at is activating the opportunity sites. The city's identified over a dozen opportunity sites located within the CRA. I think there's 20 opportunity sites identified. A combination of both publicly owned and privately owned properties. There's a great range of uses, of potential uses for the properties. Many of the properties are entitled for redevelopment uses. Most of the sites are intended to be income generating. So the intent is to get these sites back on the tax rolls where they generate positive tax revenue and tax increment revenue for additional projects. Our conceptual master plan, when we take off all of the other improvements and just have our opportunity sites, here you can see where those opportunity sites are located. So they're located throughout the CRA. both north, south, and in the central business district as well. Some of the opportunity sites, we did some what ifs, how could these be developed and how can we demonstrate the redevelopment potential to the private sector development community? So one of these at Reed Street and 6th Street, here we can see the food truck parking area, kind of the food truck park. And so this would be an open space that would require relatively little infrastructure improvements, but could be activated into a food truck park on the weekends. The existing site is shown there on the left-hand side, and then some aspirational photos as to what the site could look like on the right-hand side, and the locator map is on the lower left-hand side. The next slide is at Madison Street and 12th, next opportunity site that is. And here you can see the picture of the current site on the lower left-hand side. This site is proposed to be a community open space and or community garden. Community open space is something that greatly increases the value and utility of the area to the surrounding neighborhoods and residents. And so by creating additional open space, you create an additional amenity for those residents and increase their property value. So potential reuse or upuse for this area would include open space and a community garden.
Is that on the train station?
Is it along the bike route?
That's on the side, is that on the, that's on the north side, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I was going
Railroad
to,
track.
Railroad track.
yeah, because I was going to ask about the 11th and main corridor with the transportation hub, but that's in that area anyway. So.
Well, he got the picture up there of it and everything, but when that property was first bought, it was left there for for the bus, the Greyhound buses and stuff. We were trying to get them back. And they had that for a turnaround or a place for the Greyhound bus to come in and stop. We had a city manager who let the county go in and put the bike trail diagonally across it. So it was designated to be with our transportation hub.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom left picture shows the grocery store to your right, and it shows the green space that runs.
The train station.
That runs.
That's where the bike
with
trail
the train,
runs through it.
with the train tracks and the
But
bike
they
trail.
went diagonally across, so it took out all of that property from doing something else with part of it. That may be something that you all might have to talk about how we could do, because getting transportation now, the train still comes and people come from everywhere to get off the train on and off the train. And if we get lucky enough to ever get a bus back, that's a place that the bus could go in and out easily. I just want to leave that with you.
Correct. Okay, those are all very good comments. And the utilization of this area as a potential open space and or community garden doesn't preclude the uses for a potential transportation hub as well. It just gives it provides another amenity for those users.
All right.
The next area that we looked at is part of our Restaurant Row proposed area along South 10th Street. Now, you see the area there on the right-hand side, and then the lower right-hand side kind of shows the map of the area with some of the parcels outlined. This area has been targeted as a potential redevelopment area for small startup restaurants. You have a lot of building stock in the area that could be utilized for startup restaurants and some underutilized space, and you're surrounded by neighborhoods. So surrounded by access to this area. So this would be a very good area to have a potential restaurant row. You were talking earlier about one of the local entrepreneurs that was assisted to start up his culinary career, ultimately to be a baker and executive chef. This would provide a landing space for those types of businesses in the community. The CRA could develop several support programs for retrofitting structures in this area. Specifically, one of the primary retrofits needed for restaurants is grease traps. Grease traps and grease disposal is one of the key items, along with ADA requirements and bringing buildings up to fire code. The next area that we look at for activating as opportunity site is for an office, professional office use site at Carr and Southern 10th Street. And so here you can see the existing site right now, and then some aspirational drawings as to what could be developed in that site. Here we have some additional opportunity sites located along the waterfront. The city and the CRA could also partner to improve these sites as well, improve them with regards to additional amenities for visitors and residents. The last primary strategy for the CRA is to encourage private sector investment. And how do we encourage private sector investment? A lot of what we looked at so far is public improvements, improvements to the public realm. And that has a proven effect to encourage private sector investment in the areas where those public investments are made. The developer sees the city investing in the area. This area is on its way up, so we want to invest in that area. In addition to public sector investment in the area, there's other ways to encourage private sector investment. These include your building grants that Azalea City Brewery has taken advantage of. Residential improvement grants that residents in the central, northern, and southern districts have taken advantage of and would like to see come back. Developing a marketing brochure, advertising the opportunities that are available, the incentive programs that are available, and also who the appropriate contacts would be at the city or the CRA to advance projects. Redevelopment incentives. You have some incentives available. There are additional incentives that can be made available, such as a tax increment fund rebate for investment within the CRA area that would function similarly to a tax abatement program. There's also infrastructure improvement assistance, where the CRA and the city could help investors to improve the infrastructure for their facility in order to facilitate development. And then last but not least, there's an expedited development review process that would let developers know that their projects are important and their projects will occur within a shortened time span rather than a lengthened time span. Having that level of certainty is something that the development community highly prizes.
I have a question for you. I did
Yes,
not.
ma'am.
You said upgrading of 9th Street. Is that making it tree lined because they just redid and put water and sewer lines in there? And it's on the south side of Lemon Street. There are mostly homes there and a park. They took out all the trees when they fixed the road and promised to put them back. Is there any way of your putting it back? Is it back in your plan to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's Highway 20 and people come into our town. That's the first impression they get when they come in sometimes.
Yes, ma'am. The intent is to provide street trees wherever possible where they don't conflict with existing infrastructure or roadway improvements. And 9th Street is one of those streets that's been identified.
So they can get, I need some trees back in front of my house.
All right. Let me get back to the other slide here. All right. So the next section of the CRA plan update is the goals, policies, and action strategies. And these are the policies and goals that administer to the day-to-day operation of the CRA to make sure that the CRA is operating in accordance with Florida statutes. The way these goal strategies and projects are developed is we collect information both from a research and also from public input meetings. We synthesize that data and review it, and then provide updated GOPs to outline the objectives of the CRA and what the day-to-day activities of the CRA are. And those address several different topics. The topics covered include the administration of the CRA, who runs the CRA, how many annual reports need to be done, when do the budgets need to be adopted, when do the CAFA reports need to be taken care of, when is the annual audit of the CRA. The Florida legislature recently increased the amount of reporting requirements for CRAs. And so those requirements are also incorporated into your administration goals, strategies, and projects. The next topic covered is housing, ownership, diversity, and creating housing in the CRA. Community and culture, this addresses marketing, supportive activities, and promotion of events. Infrastructure improvements, public space amenities, public health and safety, and last but not least, a regulatory environment. How do we encourage that private sector investment through the regulations that govern the CRA? Revenue and budget. Here we see the TIF revenue for the 3 different districts. The orange line that you see at the top here, that's the Central Business District CRA, or Central Business TIF District. Then you have the South District, which is the gray line here, and the North Historic District. Projecting out for the next 22 years from 2020 through 2042, we anticipate the Northern Historic District creating a little over $1.5 million in TIF. This is at a 2.5% appreciation rate, which is a very conservative appreciation rate. In the Central Business District, for the years 2020 through 2042, we anticipate an additional $14 million in tax increment fund revenue. And in the Southern District, we anticipate an additional TIF revenue of almost $4 million from 2020 through 2042. Now, as development comes in and new development comes on the tax rolls, these numbers will go up. So these are very conservative projections right now, but this tells you what the amount of revenue that you have available to you is going to be, over the next 22-year span. So you're looking at about $20 million that you will have to work with over the next 20 years. One of the items that's going to be contained within your redevelopment plan update is going to be a listing of the proposed capital projects, those items that we identified on that CMP, the capital or the conceptual master plan map. And we're going to plug those into each different category and then assign a dollar amount to them and put them in a proposed implementation schedule. The proposed implementation schedule and budget will also include your CRA's operational budget, your annual operational budget. And so we'll advance that at 2.5% per year. But it will enable you to see how much TIF revenue you have, how much is being utilized by the operation and administration of the CRA, and then how much you have available for projects and on what year. These budget worksheets are used to identify usually shortcomings in revenue. So if you identify capital projects that exceed the CRA's revenues, you identify how much is needed to come from other sources, whether that's a general fund, whether that's loans, or whether that's grants. So this is something that will be completed in the next iteration of the plan based on the direction that we received from y'all tonight to move ahead with what we proposed thus far. And that's it. That's the end of my report. I have the QR code here that if y'all want to scan it, it'll take you directly to the website. And we also have the website, that really, really long address down on the bottom of the page. So at this time, open it up for any questions or comments.
I have one more thing. Our new planner may have to look at, we got an ordinance that we did because people were complaining about people putting stuff on the sidewalks, those businesses. And now we started wanting to put plants and make it more attractive along there and sitting outside to eat. You might have to look at it and bring it back to the city commission to make some adjustment on it, because actually we got an ordinance that says you can't put stuff on the sidewalk, but so far, and it's not a thing that you could put a table out there or even plans.
Okay, yeah,
Yes,
the
member.
recommendations here would be used to amend or update the sidewalk right-of-way use agreements that the city currently has.
If I might interject for just a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to let the board and staff know that we'll be issuing a draft of what SM&E has put together for review and comment this week. We'll be sending it out. We'll also be posting a link to the survey on Facebook and the website.
Can you also post a link of the presentation as well? Can we share the PowerPoint for the public as well?
Yes, sir.
Certainly.
And so I also want to take the privilege to go ahead and introduce our new planning director, Bernadette Fisher, to everyone. So Ms. Fisher, if you can, just so that we can get you for the record, just come over so we can catch you on the camera. And just introduce everyone. I don't think everyone from the agency's had an opportunity to meet you yet.
I'm Bernadette Fisher with the Department of Building and Zoning.
And so we just want to make sure that we can all put a face with the name. And Ms. Fisher's has come to us. She's been here for a few weeks now, and she has hit the ground rolling, and she's really, I think, taken initiative to address a lot of the things that you guys just talked about recently, and also looking at ways in which she can bring her experience and expertise into play to make sure that we become more user-friendly in the future. So, Mr. Jones, I'm looking forward to the two of you to get an opportunity to share ideas because a lot of the things that you mentioned today are things that she identified just off of site.
Awesome. I look forward to that, Mayor Hill. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have some questions.
Go ahead.
So you indicated that there was somewhere around 37% of the property downtown in the central TIF that was government owned. Would it be helpful? Would it be helpful to have that reduced along St. John's Avenue?
From a tax increment fund revenue generating, yes, it's always good to have more property on the tax paying rolls.
How about from like looking at the future and the future land use in that area? Like you've got, block your ears, Tim, the property appraiser's office, the tax collector downtown. It's always been a pet peeve of mine to have them right there in that area because that should be a really high foot traffic area for entertainment and dining and shopping and stuff like that in my estimation. But I was just wondering how you feel about that.
There are municipal functions that need to be in the downtown area that serve as an anchor and a destination for people with regards to the operation and administration of municipal and county government. The amount of space that they take up, though, is something that could be reduced.
Okay. We don't have any administration down there. It's our administration's up Krill Avenue, about 20 blocks. But so Laurel Street actually has 2 new homes built on it. You said that there was nothing built on the south side historic. There's actually 2 new homes built there.
Okay.
On Laurel Street and 10th Street. I could tell you a little bit about those if you want because I built them, but just wanted to give you that for your edification.
Got it.
The Reed Street bike path, the proposed bike path, would it tie to the current bicycle paths that are going through the city now?
If they cross over Reed Street, the intent would be for them to tie in. Yes, sir.
No, they don't. They go down.
They go under the bridge.
No, they go around.
I know, but that walkway under the bridge was put there so that people could go from the south side to the north side and the north side to the south side.
Oh, okay. The wooden walkway?
Yeah, the wooden walkway
Yeah.
under the bridge.
No, I didn't know if it was going to tie to we've got trail systems that come in and Palatka serves kind of as a hub. So you've got your River to Sea loop that comes through here from Lake City eventually through here all the way to St. Augustine and several others. So I didn't know if that was going to be part of that or not. How much money, it sounds to me like we need to ramp up some economic development spending on marketing. Is that what you're pushing towards?
There's going to be a I guess marketing is just one aspect that y'all need to focus on. The continued infrastructure improvements is your primary focus. Modifying your regulations affecting the downtown to enable additional private sector investment is another item. The marketing, first you need a good story to tell. You're writing that story right now, but I would focus more on the public improvements and the regulatory revisions, and then start, how do you say, advertising that, really exemplifying that's available.
Okay. And then lastly, the future revenue that you put up to the $14 million, is there a way to leverage that and use that to cover debt service? Can we as a CRA borrow money based on future revenue like that?
Yes, you may.
Okay.
The CRA has the opportunity to enter into contracts and issue and receive debt as well.
Okay.
We borrowed from the state revolving fund to put in the potable water lines on the south side. And we're using South Tip funds to pay that loan back over 20 years.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Any other questions from the agency?
Oh, I invited you to take a ride in my car to see a tour of the town. I still would like to do that because I think.
Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, the week after we spoke, I got COVID.
Oh, well,
So
you don't need to get in my car to you.
this is the first week I've been upright, so I'm glad to be here.
Well, I won't be on the commission. I'll be a citizen taking you around, but I still think that if you're gonna look at us and help us do better, you need to have some history and you need to see more of the place. I don't know how much you've seen, but I'm always sure there's more for you to see.
Don't get in the
Always. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor.
And so
I have a
also,
driver.
Ms. Conover's question, codes being completely revamped. So I think once that reorganization process is in place, it'll definitely answer all your questions.
Do we have to take action on this report at all?
No, let's go, I guess for the purposes of having the report in place, let's go ahead and just entertain a motion to accept it as it's been presented.
Mayor?
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
We got a motion for in a second. Mr. Griffin.
I just wanted to reiterate Ms. Mandy's comment that we are planning on sending out a more detailed report, which we hope to get some written comments back from the board and staff. I'll be working closely with Ms. Fisher and Mr. Holmes over the next couple of weeks, showing them some of the preliminary plans that Mr. Jones has forwarded over to us to make sure we don't miss any opportunity sites or highlight any other capital projects that we may have missed. There is one other thing we do need the help of the board with, and anybody that's on the call tonight. They have done a tremendous job trying to get public input, but we're not at that mark that I believe we need to be at as far as public input. So if there's any way to forward out this link to get people to take this survey to better inform the report, that's what we need right now.
Let's do some independent posts of the survey, both through social media, also in electronic text format that we can send out to the public as a whole. And let's put those on all our pages and also on our website so that we can share those and send it to all our community partners as well.
Yes, sir. Mayor Hill, also on your chat area, you should have the URL address in there. Ms. Harris has posted that URL address, so you can copy and paste that and put it into any electronic messaging you want to use as well.
If we can do that, that'll be perfect. And I saw where it was posted in there before. And so again, thank you both for you for work on this project, both to Ms. Harris,
there it is.
You, Mr. Jones, as well. And so we'll try to blast that out as much as we can, see if we can get some additional input.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions from the agency?
No, sir.
Okay.
Excellent job.
Thank you very much. And so we've got a motion on the floor in a second. Is there any further discussion on this motion to approve the report? Questions called. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So again, thank you, Mr. Jones, for the presentation. Thank you, Ms. Harris, for your work.
Thank you, Mayor Hill.
You work on this plan as well. And so we definitely appreciate that. So now we move into the remainder of our reports, tax increment financial report. Ms. Becker.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Before you have our typical revenue and expenditure reports. The revenues will be posted hopefully the end of December, beginning of January. We have requested the funds from the county, and typically from the tax collector, our portion is deposited at the end of December. And one of the distributions. Expenditures, there's not significant activity as we're waiting on the plan and wanting to make sure that we follow suit with the proposals. If you have any questions, please let me know. I know that we have a couple of capital budget expenditures budgeted, sidewalks, that sort of thing. However, no activities at this time.
Any questions?
I have none.
No. Any questions from the agency?
Nope.
Seeing none, okay. Before we move into next up, I guess before we move into that. So again, thank you, Ms. Becker, for your report. And we look forward to continue reports over our next meeting. I also want to take this point of privilege to make sure we recognize our property appraiser who's been sitting here with us patiently, Mr. Tim Parker. And so again, Mr. Parker, thank you for being here with us today. And we just definitely appreciate you. Any comments for us? Hey, so I caught him off guard. No comments today from the property appraiser, but we definitely appreciate him. He's been sitting here as well, looking over the presentation, and we're just glad to have you here with us. So moving into our reports, Ms. Elizabeth Van Renberg was here for the North TIF. She didn't have anything else to add. She seemed pretty pleased with the presentation as it was given today. Next up will be our CBD report. Ms. Kemp, do you have anything from Central Business?
No, sir.
All right. Next up, Mr. Russo, do you have anything?
Yes, sir.
Porch Fest.
Come up here.
Yeah, you can come up.
He wants to be at Porch Fest next year.
Well, ask you the Porch Fest. Yeah.
Start early, start often.
So Vito Russo, 415 Emmett. Vito Russo, 415 Emmett. I thought Mr. Jones and SNE basically did a really nice job. Really nice job. Very comprehensive. It's going to take some time to really review that and digest all that information that he gave us. Along the same ideas the ideas that we have in the South Side is very much in line with what John Jones had just said. So one of the things that our primary goal in the South Side at the moment is to create a passive recreational park. So that would be under active opportunity sites.
Right.
So Mr. Jones talked about how that was supposed to generate revenue for the city. Well, in fact, a passive recreational park will in fact generate a substantial amount of extra revenue for the city by having an economic impact of increasing property values in the whole district. So there are a number of university studies that I found, that I've read, that convey the idea that a passive recreational park would boost property values between 8 and 20%. Now, I proposed using TIF monies to purchase a lot and to develop a park so it'd be a private-public partnership idea. So basically, we were proposing that the TIF funds be used to purchase the property, and then the South Historic Neighborhood Association would use its funds and its resources and develop the park. So if this could come to fruition, the cost to the TIF program, it's not a sunk cost at all. It's actually an investment in the TIF program, because if we can boost property values at the low end of 8% in that district, you'll be generating an additional $8,400 to the TIF program annually, which would add up over the 20 years, like the $168,000. But if it increased to 10 or had the impact of even 15%, you're generating $200,000 and $300,000 in additional funds to the TIF program, and then ultimately to the city's general revenue once the TIF program sunsets. So that is the most important point that I'd like to make at this meeting. Other lesser points would be the idea of reinforcing connections. The South Side would really love to see a multi-path route running along River Street going up to Ravine Gardens. I think that would be advantageous for the community. And the one question that we did have in the South Side was on the TIP program, is the HIP program going to be reinstated?
Question for another day, not on this agenda.
That was suspended for.
It was suspended.
That wasn't on this.
It was suspended based upon the last budget meeting that you were at when you asked the same question.
The question is it going to be reinstated?
It's not on the agenda to be reinstated.
Okay, so the answer is no.
The answer is it's not on the agenda to be reinstated. If you want to make a request, you can.
I just want to get an idea of what leadership is thinking, that's all. So if the leadership wants the HIP program, that's fine. If they don't want it, that's fine also. We just want to get an idea of.
Can we get an update at our next meeting and put on the agenda to discuss the current status and the future status of the HIP program so the public will know?
That's all I just asked for.
I mean, people are asking me for the application and I'm informing them that it's currently suspended indefinitely.
But we can't answer that question. Yeah, we can't answer that question today because it's not agenda to even discuss. And we can't make a ruling on it today.
I'm not asking for a ruling, I'm just asking
All
for an
right,
idea.
we're going to put on the agenda for
It's
next
on the
meeting.
agenda. Commissioner Rawls.
Okay, so the only other issue that I'd like to bring to the attention of the board is traffic calming on River Street, predominantly, a little bit on Laurel, but River Street. Basically, we've got these raised brick intersections now on the intersections of cross streets. You got Hotel, Kirkland, Dodge, and Morris. And the folks that live close to the intersections, it's not slowing traffic down whatsoever. It's actually exacerbating the issue for those folks. And when the trucks and the cars run over them, speeding, they're generating a lot of noise, as one would expect. And also the vibration coming from the cars going over the bricks is penetrating their house.
Shaking the house now?
So the house is going to shake.
You need to live where I live.
Oh, on 9th Street, yeah, you got a lot.
9th Street, there's all of that going on and.
Well, I just basically wanted to mention that idea because the folks on River Street, it's an ongoing issue, it's been going on for years.
I watched a four-wheeler drive up Reed Street and turn right on like 8th or 9th when I was on my way here. I mean, it's going to come down to personal accountability and, people just not being rude.
Well, we've written a letter to the chief of police, asking them to have a sustained enforcement component to trying to slow folks down on the river. But I think in conjunction with that, we need some engineering. So the engineering could be, speed cushions. And the thing about it is River Street.
What is a speed cushion?
A speed cushion.
I've heard of speed humps. I've heard of speed bumps. I've never heard of
we have
speed tables. Now, a speed cushion is a speed table only in 3 pieces. And there's a gap between the center piece and the 2 outside pieces. And it's designed that way so it doesn't interfere with EMS vehicles or fire trucks because they have a wider stance than a passenger vehicle does. So they can get through unimpeded, whereas a passenger vehicle cannot avoid encountering the speed cushion.
I would imagine that would have to be a conversation with the city commission.
It's going to be a conversation with the county as well because it's an evacuation route and we've had this conversation.
And I can tell you right now, the county commission is not in favor of.
We've had the conversation ad nauseum. And
well, this is a public safety issue.
So there's a traffic study that was given, which gave options, which we tried to exercise to move forward. I think the first is just get with Mr. Griffith, who worked closely with the company as they did the traffic study.
Yeah, 2017.
And so he's in City Hall, so you can get with him, see if you guys can talk through that, and then then come back to us if nothing happens at that point.
Yeah, they've just about run riffing crazy trying to figure out stuff. I think for about 10 years or more, people were complaining about the speeding and stuff. And I don't know where you're gonna find a solution for it, because somebody wanted to put roundabouts. in some of
Roundabouts would work.
I love roundabouts.
Roundabouts would work.
And people, some of the citizens came in and raised saying they did not want roundabouts, so. It's,
I don't think you have any opportunities on River Street for it, but I like those more than traffic lights.
I don't either.
Well, there's a couple of different ideas that the report, the study, the traffic, River Street traffic study that was in 2017. They recommended a couple of different ideas. We could chat about it later. So
I wanna say, you keep talking about a park. You know that right there on 9th and Oak, there's that baseball park, but there's some more property around that park that probably could be utilized for something. They sit on one corner. There's a whole nother corner.
the Rotary Baseball Park.
Rotary Park.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Jones, basically his PowerPoint back when he had open house at the River Center, basically one of the points that he made was that the CRA districts need more parks. So that's in line with our innovative idea to address blight by having a private-public partnership. That's an innovative solution. So
We need to also look at and think about the proximity of those parks as well too, because
It's 3 within 400 yards.
we got quite a few parks that's really close proximity.
Mr. Jones doesn't share that idea.
They got some down there. Mr. Jones, that I told you, I'd ask him to take him around to show him some of this stuff, and he said he got sick.
Well, that PowerPoint that he just gave basically talked about active sites, basically. He had Hammock Hall and a lot kitty corner on that same intersection as just what we're speaking about. So.
All right, thank you for your report. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gina.
I think that's our last report.
It is.
Any comments from the agency? I'll start with Commissioner Campbell.
I have none, Mayor. Thank you.
And Riverfront Park, and actually the Riverfront Park is partially in the South Historic District, just as a point of information. Also, Commissioner McCaskill, anything?
None at this time, Mayor. Thanks.
Ms. Kemp,
No, sir.
Commissioner Rawls?
I just had to share that the other night, my wife and I and my son went to Orange Park. They had an event called Old Town Christmas. And they set up, it was kind of like a 2-day festival, if you will. They had vendors there.
Off 17?
Off of Kingsley.
Yeah, on the left-hand side.
I think I've seen that.
But as I was going through there, I couldn't help but think it'd be something perfect along the riverfront for Palatka. Maybe give us some civic groups if they're interested. But they had individual vendors. Somebody was there. They had a couple of food trucks. They had somebody doing funnel cakes and stuff like that. But they also had hay rides. The city of Orange Park had 4 vehicles that were pulling, 2 of them pulling hay carts and 2 of them pulling like little trains for kids to ride. They had pony rides and vendors there that were selling arts and crafts and stuff like that. But it was a pretty neat little function for the community, and it was very well attended, to say the least. But I just thought that might be something that Palatka could look into.
And they do events there monthly as well. They do farmers market and some other events there monthly.
Not there. This is down on the road. They have a park. It's owned by the city, and there's I think it's called the Carter House. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it's right there.
It's right there. They have pavilions, and so this whole area, they had it blocked off. The police were directing traffic. The First Baptist Church across the street, they utilized their parking lot for parking, and people were coming and going from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It was a 4-hour event for 2 nights, and that was it.
Right. It was like the corner of Kingsley and 7th and
halfway between Kingsley and
okay,
Landing.
because I know they had something else right there at the corner of Kingsley and 17, and they
that's where they do their monthly big farmers market thing.
Okay.
That thing's extremely well attended too.
I think that's what I seen. Okay.
I think that'd be something neat if we could get some help from the civic groups to. And they had a lot, when they went over the hayride, they had a lot of light displays, you know, Christmas lights and stuff. Pretty neat.
Commissioner Bourne?
Well, just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. That's all I have.
And so for us, it's our last meeting with Vice Mayor Byrne at our CRA. 36 years on the commission. She's been with the CRA since its inception. And so, again, I'm excited about what's coming forward. I'm pleased with the presentation that was here. Excited to see new businesses popping into the community, and also the amount of participation that we're getting from citizens as a whole. And Vice Mayor, I'll turn over to you. I'll pass the gavel to you for final comments as you adjourn us.
Well, I want to say I enjoy working with all of you, and I will be kind of peeking in to see what's going on. If you have any questions about anything you think staff that I can help them with, just give me a call. Everybody will know how to find me. Palatka is a place that my grandparents came in 1914 to start businesses. And we've been here all of that time. And they believed in doing things to take other people along. They just didn't work on stuff that looked for them. I think some of that fell on me because I have been pushing for a business incubator and revolving loan funds, or anything that we could do to help somebody else and help this town. It's a great town to live in, and I've enjoyed working with my my city commission. We are blessed to have people who love this town as much as they do, and also the folks that have come in here like Sharon and work to help people start a business and start a life. This town had, I counted up at one time, 30 Black businesses in here. And sometimes if some of you all catch me, I'll tell you all about it. We had entertainers coming here, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, and that quality of person years ago. Something called Silas Green, who was a minstrel show, a Black minstrel show that traveled. So people have known about us, and I think there will be where we can pull that tourism back in here and make this a town that's great. We call it the jewel of Putnam County, and I think that's what we are. Good luck to all of you, and keep working hard, because I'm gonna be looking over some of y'all's shoulders. Anyway, I love all of you all.
It's reciprocated.
Okay. Anything else? Can I have a motion to dismiss?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
All right.
Thank y'all.